Well, hello everybody. My name is Brent Brading and welcome to the Mustard Seed Leadership Podcast, your 8-minute weekly leadership lesson. This series is called the Leadership Creed. A creed is a summary statement of belief. I've tried to take 25 years of leadership experience and teaching and consolidate them into a leadership creed. 10 statements describing what we believe the Bible teaches about leadership. For the next 10 weeks, we're going to gather around a table with a group of leaders in training. I'll teach for 8 minutes and then we're going to discuss the questions. I hope that you'll join us. Gather some potential leaders, watch the lesson together and then discuss the questions. The Leadership Creed is in the notes along with the questions. You can download them from the link in the comments. So please subscribe to get the latest weekly episode and we would love it if you'd share it with your friends and team. So let's get to today's lesson. Well, welcome to part number 8 of the Leadership Creed. And let me read the sentence for the day. It says, we believe that leaders must carry the heart of a shepherd who guards, cares for, gathers, searches out, and feeds those under their care. Now, a few episodes ago, we looked at the primary motivation for leadership should be love. But what I want to see here is how shepherding skills need to be linked to a shepherding heart. This lesson speaks about the skills of shepherd leadership, but it's directly linked to the heart. In other words, if your heart is not right, if you have the heart of, the Bible speaks, a hireling, someone who's just hired or paid to do the job, or you've got the heart of a professional, it's not the same. Look at what it says about David, who's the great example of a shepherd leader. In Psalm 78, verses 70 to 72, it says, God chose David his servant and took him from the sheep pens. From tending the sheep, he brought him to be the shepherd of his people Jacob, of Israel, his inheritance. And David shepherded them with integrity of heart, with skillful hands he led them. And that's critical to see the link between integrity of heart, the shepherd heart, and then the shepherd hands. It's so important to notice that it was in the obscure place of lonely shepherding that David was learning the skills of being a godly king. I love that verse because it says God took him from the sheep pens and made him shepherd of his people Israel. Same job, just different kind of sheep. And where you are right now, we don't have to wait to be put into a leadership position. Wherever you might be right now, God is going to use that situation to train you and teach you on how to be a leader in his kingdom. But I want to look at 3 lessons of a shepherd, 3 things we can learn from David as an example of a shepherd leader, particularly those skills that we need of shepherd leadership. Number 1, David learned that the way he leads is a reflection of how God leads him, which is quite a profound thought. And we see that most clearly in that famous Psalm, Psalm 23, verses 1 to 3. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. Now, he was a shepherd, but he realized in that actually, Lord, you shepherding me and I shepherd the sheep. And then God says, now I'm taking you to shepherd my nation. So in other words, he reflects in his leadership the way God leads him. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. It's servant-hearted leadership motivated by love and care. And when he realized that's God's leadership style in my life, and so that's what I need to reflect to others. If you've never tasted or had a revelation of the way God leads you, then you're not going to lead people that way. But the more you experience it, the more it becomes a revelation personally, then the more it changes the way you lead others. The skill of a shepherd is to learn that we're called to reflect the heart of God to the people we lead. Just like Paul said, follow my example as I follow the example of Christ in 1 Corinthians 11 verse 1. That's why our relationship with Jesus needs to stay fresh. That's why we need to keep growing in our revelation of God, because the more we catch that revelation, the more we reflect it in our leadership. Number 2, David learned that killing lions and bears to protect the sheep was preparation for killing giants to protect the people. I love that. I'm sure most of you watching this or listening to this have heard about David and Goliath and that famous victory. Let me read just an extract as he was about to face Goliath in 1 Samuel 17, 34 to 37. But David said to Saul, who was the king, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said to David, go, and the Lord be with you. It takes courage to lead God's people. It takes courage to make decisions by faith when you hoping, fighting off your doubts. Has God really said? It takes courage to confront someone and lovingly correct them. It takes courage to bring about change and vision and speak about the dreams God's put inside of you. But I love the fact that it was in the obscurity, the victories that David was having in private then became the source of his victories in public. And that's why don't discount what God is doing in your life right now. Chances are God's building a faith and testimonies inside. Whatever you're facing now, whatever your environment is now, God's not waiting and wasting time. He's using that time to prepare you for what He wants to do in your life in the future. The skill of a shepherd is to recognize that what God is teaching you in private are tools to help lead the people in public. As an example, I remember when we started the church here, in the days when there was no money and there was no money to pay salaries, we saw the gracious hand of God supernaturally provide. When it came time to build a building and trust God for millions to pay for a building, we'd killed lions and bears. Lord, you provided for us then, surely you'll provide for us here. And He did. And then number 3, David learned that worshiping with the sheep in private is what gave him promotion in public. In 1 Samuel 16, verses 17 to 19, Saul said to his attendants, this is King Saul when he was struggling with depression, find someone who plays well and bring him to me. One of the servants answered, I have seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the lyre. He's a brave man and a warrior. He speaks well and is a fine-looking man, and the Lord is with him. Then Saul sent messengers to Jesse and said, send me your son David, who is with the sheep. I mean, this is an amazing coincidence. David, who'd been playing his guitar, writing psalms, looking after sheep, just happened to meet someone who worked for the king. And when the king needed a musician, he just happened to be in the room at the right time and say, I know someone who knows how to play well and the Lord is with him. So while he was just writing worship songs and loving God in private, God was preparing the promotion for him to now be in the presence of the king. And that should encourage us. He was a great warrior in public because he was a great worshiper in private. If we can learn to fight the battles in worship, in prayer, in private, God will open the door for public victories as well. The skill of a shepherd is to learn to fight battles in prayer and worship on behalf of the sheep. Victory in public follows victory in private. That's a critical skill for a shepherd. And so here's the big challenge. Paul learned this from David and obviously from Jesus, which is why he challenged the leaders of the church in Ephesus. He planted that church in Ephesus, and years later, he says to them in Acts 20, verses 28 to 31, keep watch over yourselves and all the flock of which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers. Be shepherds of the church of God, which He bought with His own blood. Know that after I leave, savage wolves will come in among you and will not spare the flock. Even from your own number, men will arise and distort the truth in order to draw away disciples after them. So be on your guard. Remember, for 3 years I never stopped warning each of you night and day with tears. What a passionate plea. You can hear the shepherd heart of Paul coming through and comparing leading the church to leading a flock. So here's the lesson in a sentence. Shepherd leadership is not soft. And sometimes it sounds like, oh, be a shepherd. No, shepherd leadership's not soft. It requires great love, commitment, and a willingness to lay down your life for the sheep. But that's what God's looking for. That's the style of leadership, servant heart of leadership that reflects the heart of a shepherd. So we're going to look at a couple of questions together. Once again, I would encourage you to discuss these questions with your team or ponder them by yourself. Here they are. Number 1, can you think of a leader in your life who's modeled shepherd leadership well? Number 2, what do you see as the biggest thing that separates a great shepherd leader from the rest? And number 3, what aspect of shepherd leadership do you think God would like to develop in you more? Well, thanks everyone for listening or watching this week's episode. I really do hope it was helpful and can't wait to see you again next week. Until then, bye for now.